mine is simple. Let point guards be point guards. Stop putting your point guards in the corner and putting guys running the offense at key sections of the game that shouldn't be necessarily, right? I'm not saying that they shouldn't have the ball in their hands, but I don't want Kevin Durant getting it dumped to him at the top of the key and forcing him to be the guy that has to create the offense in final minutes of games. There was a reason in that 6:45 to end that game the other night that the offense ground to a halt, right? And I think they so much try to get Book and KD and Beal the opportunity to be that point man in those late minutes, where I think they could get a better result by putting them in the best position possible and letting the point guard you brought in who doesn't turn over the ball get it to them.
Well, we talked about this after the last post game, so I don't want to dive into it too deeply, but I will say, like, you're absolutely right. We saw it at the end of last game where Tyus Jones was like 3 for 11 and was standing in the corner for a lot of those possessions late in the games. Like, Bradley Beal is good in attack mode, but having him initiate in terms of making the decisions and setting up the offense, like we saw the offense get stagnant. Beal kind of struggles with that. KD, we saw him have an 8 turnover game. And after the game, he pointed to the fact that a lot of his turnovers came from late clock possessions where he kind of got the ball in tough positions and had to make something happen. But I went back and watched those turnovers, and that was only like 2 or 3 of them. There were another 4 or 5 where it was just getting stripped or getting doubled or just losing the ball. So those two have to be better, but you also have to put them in better positions, because why would you go out and get not 1, but 2 point guards, even at that low price, if you're not going to put them in positions to do what you brought them here to do? And that was frustrating to watch at the end of the Warriors game. And it was actually something that I asked Coach Mike Budenholzer about at practice, and his answer was a little wishy-washy.
A little bit of both. I think, the ball in Brad and Kevin's hands at the end of the game is always going to be important for us. And Tyus' ability to make big shots and play off the ball has been a good thing for us. So, I think spacing-wise we could be a little bit better. Execution could be a little bit better. But, where and how we use Tyus and everything, well, he's certainly capable. I think we got to be able to do a little bit of everything, including what we did the other night.
If you read between the lines in terms of what Book has been saying, what Budenholzer have been saying about Tyus's aggression as a scorer, how they need him to look to score and be aggressive, you can kind of see that, like, they are going back to what we were saying last year in terms of why this team, a point guard could help, but it's not going to change everything, because they still want KD and Book and Brad to be the main initiators. They want the ball in their hands. So you're having this situation where you need those 3 guys as your top scorers to be starting offensive sets, but you also need Tyus Jones to be able to do what he does, especially on nights where he's not shooting the ball well, like that Warriors game. So they're still figuring that out. And to be honest with you, I don't know if we're going to see this New Year's resolution fulfilled, because it feels like they are telling Tyus, we need you to be aggressive off the ball. We need you to continue shooting the ball at a high clip, attacking closeouts with your floaters. But in terms of actually handing the offense over to him fully, we're never going to see that. And that was always my chief concern with going out and getting a point guard.
Oh, great. You bought a sports car and you're only driving it in school zones. What's the point? I'd rather have Grayson in there if you're just going to jam a guy in a corner and have him shoot.
Yeah, me and Gerald spoke a lot about this last season on Take That for Data. You can't add a player who clearly brings value in a specific manner and then expect to shift everything that they do, but still expect for them to give you the value in other ways. Like for Tyus, at times, yes, he can give you those things off the ball, but it's not going to be the same as if he's not initiating and then getting into that. There's a sequencing that needs to take place for him, but past just him, there's a sequencing that needs to take place for your team. The Suns are at their best on offense when they kind of strike. It's not the exact same script, but the script is very similar. The slightest bit of movement to get the defense toggling their rotations and positioning. Then you get into whatever your primary action is. If the primary action isn't there, because the pieces on the board are shifting around, now you can, in an advantageous manner, get into a secondary or tertiary type of layering of your offense.
We all silly like the mayor.